going to talk now to Dallas Lucas in Greater Manchester. She's been struggling to keep up with bills and is now more than £500 in debt to her energy provider. Dallas, hello.
Hi, Victoria.
Hi, thanks very much for talking to us. Tell us how you're doing.
Well, right now I'm sitting on a mattress in my flat, but because I don't have a bed or any furniture, I have been literally living on cereal and water or looking through bins for food when obviously, you know, the payments that have been given to me have been taken so long. It's been ridiculous to wait that long just for any initial handout from the government at all. You know, I've sold all my furniture I don't have a washer or a cooker anymore just to try and keep up with the energy bill. They've got me in rent arrears. It's literally taken off a piece of giving to Paul constantly. You know, you don't know what to do for the best, and then there's no help or support out there, and the little help they do give, it's just swallowed up by these absolutely humongous energy bills. It's mainly the gas bill, which is like, the gas bill is so astronomical. I was paying £30 1 month and the month after £150. And bear in mind, this is when we've had this massive heat wave. You know, and my gas hasn't been on, and it's one of them things where it's like a monster as a poverty pandemic, this, and I think the government are just like playing Russian roulette with people's lives, and they don't care. They don't live this life. It all looks good on paper for their electorate, but unfortunately we elected them, and now it's like they've just abandoned us all. We won't even, if they do a tax cut, that wouldn't even touch anybody as a pensioner or universal credit, because obviously we're right at the bottom of the food chain. So we're kind of left in a situation where it's not, I mean, I can't even get food that you can buy. The food I get is either given to me off friends who obviously realise I'm starving to death in this flat, or it's given to me by, you know, neighbours who come across you and then, you know, you see you tired and looking extremely, you know, different than I did a few months back. And how you know, where's it going to end? It's like, if it's this bad now, the energy company have just sort of priced me out of living in my 1-bedroom flat. I've got nowhere else to go after this apart from the tent. And you know, I'm literally just sat there on this mattress, just, you know, wondering what's coming next. I'm so upset by it, and it's just so destroying to hear Boris Johnson saying yesterday that he wasn't going to help. It's down to the next person along the line, which is too little too late, and it's like he's just abandoned the whole of the country. It's not just me, it's everybody that is afflicted with this. Even my friends in full-time jobs, they are having similar problems to me, and they've got like 2 partners working both full-time. Same problem, their wages are not covering the mortgage because of the energy bill. So basically, they've made me bankrupt, literally. The gas bill has absolutely made me bankrupt. And living on £635 a month on universal credit, to say that half of that is rent, then the gas bill want the other half. You know, I can't. It's obviously getting me in a lot of rent arrears or council tax arrears. It's a constant vicious circle you're stuck on. And, you know, my mental health has just absolutely suffered. The worry, the constant hunger pains, the fact you can't sleep, not just from worrying, but because you're literally lying here thinking, you know, I could starve to death in this flat. And to go 2 weeks at a time just living on cereal and water, people can't afford milk or can't afford to run the fridge, because you're frightened to death of putting it on. It's really causing some sort of, you know, anxiety. And I'm sure that there's millions of people all up and down the country that have got anxiety every single time they turn on a kettle. I've been having cold cups of tea, you know, like just sticking a tea bag in it, in some water. You know, there's only so much you can economise, but this is like World War II relived, but the circumstances are totally different. There's a war, all right. The war is between the government not listening and everybody who is trying to tell them what you're saying, it does not add up. You can't live on £635 on universal credit and expect £1,500 outgoing, and that's with you sat there in the cold with tea lights heating your own, and, you know, frightened to death of even, you know, will you manage to walk 6 miles a day I have to walk to go to a library there and back, just to do my job search, just to come back to a bowl of cereal and water, I really do feel betrayed by, Boris Johnson. And to see him smiling and happy, and to know that there's millions of people that aren't, it's heart-wrenching to see that. And there's no hope, there's no end to this. It just looks like it's going to be even worse in a few weeks' time,
the bills are going to get higher in October and then again in January. That's what the forecasts say. The government might say in October you're going to get £1,200 to help because you are on benefits and you'll be classed as vulnerable. I know it's probably still not going to touch the size, is it? But it's something.
Well, I've asked the gas company to actually rip this meter out of this flat, and I've obviously complained to Ofgem as well. They've done absolutely nothing. I've asked them to cut me off so I can at least try and have a chance at actually paying the debt I owe already on this gas bill. The other energy provider who provides the electric has been really supportive. They've given me electric, borrowed electric, let's call it, when I've really been struggling. It's been like one bad dream after another, but there's no end to it. And, it's one of them things where I'm not the only person suffering, and I want people to know that people shouldn't be poverty shamed into, the realisations that if you're poor, you shouldn't ask for help. That British stiff upper lip where anybody who is struggling, don't ask for help. People who are well off just sort of trying to silence you all the time. If they don't want to listen to anybody, they won't be happy until they have this winter where people will literally be freezing to death in their homes. And straight after COVID, people's health needs to be, better. And it's true of any pandemic. It's always months of prolonged starvation in history, months of prolonged starvation from people that are just the ordinary person. And then when you have a pandemic like that, they need to be mentally and physically well to be able to continue and survive. They won't survive this winter. We're going to have it's going to be a massive pandemic of nothing but people just freezing to death in the flat or dying of starvation. And this now is turned into a third world country because it's really shocking that this is one of the richest countries in the world, and yet we are literally starving in our flat.
Tell me what you would say, Dallas, to. I mean, you've made it clear what you think about the current Prime Minister. What you would say to the two people who want to take over from him, who at the moment are reluctant to spell out clearly what extra help they might give people when they take over on September the 5th?
Well, I would say to Liz Truss, the fact that she's turned around and said, she's not going to do any handouts to anybody, she's using the terminology she's using is wrong for a start. These aren't handouts, this is people's survival we're talking about. It won't even touch the sides because people like me don't pay tax, pensioners don't pay tax, people with disabilities, there's not even going to speak to that. Whereas Rishi Sunak seems to be a little bit, he's been dealing with these problems for quite a while already. And obviously he realises the urgency of it and something has to be done. And that's why they have already initiated some extra additional help. But that doesn't go far enough. We've waited far too long for that. What I would say to the person that's going to take over this absolute living nightmare, which is the only way I can physically describe this, is I hope that they have got a strong stomach for what's coming next, because people will literally there'll be just horror stories of pensioners just dying in their flats, can't turn the electric on, it'll be months before anyone discovers them. It's absolutely, it's like Armageddon, but it's such a situation. This is a man-made created event. This isn't something that the innocent poor electorate has created. This is a man-made global event that has caused this. It's not just our country that's dealing with all these problems, but, people in government now, they're not listening to what needs to be done at home. They're not focusing on the everyday people like me or like the average pensioner or like the couple with a family to feed. They're not looking at that. What they're looking at is where they're sitting. They don't worry about their energy bills. They don't have to even think about it. Whereas, somebody like me, this isn't a choice. I demanded that they take this monster money eating meter out of my flat, and they're still refusing to allow me the option to, you know, at least try and get back on track.
Yeah.
They've cost effectively made me bankrupt in my flat, and I'm protecting my tenancy by refusing to pay that gas bill and just paying £5 off a month off it, whatever the total figure is right now.
Okay.
Because the thing is, if I pay the full amount, I just literally would just be throwing money down a black hole. And the sooner people realise you have to protect your tenancies first, make sure that you can still live in your flat or house or wherever you're rented, or your mortgages. Nobody's mortgage should be lower than their gas bill. And I'm hearing that all the time from my friends, that their gas bills are higher than their own mortgage.
Yeah.
So everybody's got the same problem.
Okay. Dallas, thank you very much. Thank you for talking to us. Take care.
You're welcome.
Thank you.